it's super interesting because I've heard you say that you didn't do any media right after the fight. And you did that because you wanted to see what people would say about it before you said anything about it. That's right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide that that's the route you wanted to take?
Because I knew that going into that fight, like a lot of people already had like a biased opinion against me because of who I supported as a president of our country. And I just knew like they were already labeling me certain labels when they knew nothing about me. They only know what I just decided to show them. They don't know the real me and the real person I am. So I kind of wanted to sit back and reflect, you know. I didn't want to come out and say anything. I wanted to see how the media was going to spin it, the things they were going to say. Were they going to bring up the things that happened in the fight? Were they going to call the nut shot? Were they going to look at that he's acting and faking on the other eye? Were they going to show the stoppages that Mark made and how he's trying to separate me, but he's never separating Usman, and just the bias he showed in the fight? I wanted to see if they were going to say that, but no, they wanted to downplay me. They wanted to say, oh, I got knocked out. It wasn't a competitive fight. That's the funniest thing that I saw was all the MMA media saying that I got finished and it wasn't even competitive. Like I didn't win multiple rounds in that fight. So I just, you know, it showed me the true colors of the MMA media and that they don't know how to report impartial journalism. You know, that's why they're reporting MMA and they're not in some of the big sports.
Like how do you think the first fight should be remembered?
I think the main thing to take away is just the ill-advised stoppages and just the controversy that surrounds it. You know, it's if I would have won the other way around, if I would have been Usman and I won like that, I wouldn't have accepted winning like that. I wouldn't want to win like that. I would feel like I have unfinished business with this guy. We need to run it back right away, and this is the fight that needs to happen because I need to leave no doubt to the fans, to the media, to my coaches, to everybody in the world that I'm the best, and there was nothing that stopped the fight, you know, that it wasn't a fair fight. So I'd want to prove that I'm the best and I'll beat you fair and square, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go fight lightweights and look for easier fights, and he doesn't want to fight me again until the UFC forces his hand.
This feeling of, like you said it earlier, I'm the most hated man in the UFC, is this the fight that made you feel that way?
Yeah, for sure. Just seeing, you know, some of the clickbait that the media was writing about me. No one wants to talk about the things that I've done in the sport, the heights that I've reached, you know, the history that I've made, you know, some of the most strikes, you know, ever landed in a fight versus one of the scariest fighters, Robbie Lawler. No one wants to talk about me being the only fighter to go to the White House, you know, and hang out with the sitting president. No, everybody wanted to downplay my accomplishments like they were nothing. And they wanted to act like, you know, I had done nothing and I was just completely dominated that night. So, you know, it showed me the truth about media, and that's a real reason why I don't want to talk to them no more. I have nothing to say to them. Like, these guys, they want to be my friend to my face, or they want to act like they're friends to my face, but behind the camera and when they're writing their articles, they can't write impartial journalism.
Do you feel like you brought any of it on yourself, though? Because, I mean, you were controversial and you did, you know, play up, I think, a character. Is that fair to say?
No, that's not fair to say. I would say, Brett, I just turned it up to 11. Before, I was scared of how the UFC perceived me and, you know, not trying to piss them off because I wanted to do good business. But I also realized at the same time that this is show business, man. And if you want to get paid and you want to get in these big high-profile fights, you need to not just be a good fighter, but you got to do things that entertain the fans outside of fighting. So I just turned it up to 11 and I stopped caring what people thought about me. And I realized that I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say that they're not here to make friends, but everybody needs friends, right? And do you feel like sometimes, like, I got no friends in this business. I got no friends in MMA. That is it's kind of become part of your career, right? Do you feel that way sometimes?
Nah, I love it. You know, the friends that I have, you know, and my family, they know who I truly am as a person. And my coaches close to me, you know, now Daniel Valverde, Cesar Carnero, Jonathan Lopez, these guys know who I am. And these are my close friends and my family that, you know, I would take a bullet for. So I'm not here to make friends, and I don't care about making friends. And I don't care what people think of me, Brad, because we realize in this world that everybody has opinions, and opinions are like buttholes. Most of the time they stink.
You talked about the fans and the media, the way that they characterize the fight and the way that they talked about the fight. How about the UFC? Like, what did you hear back from, like, Dana, Hunter, you know, Sean Shelby? What were their impressions of the fight?
Yeah, I remember Hunter calling me like right after the fight, and he was just like, "Man, you just put on one of the greatest fights I've ever seen live." And like seeing Dana, you know, like me and Dana have had, you know, a lot of beef throughout our career, you know, and a lot of, you know, he misunderstood me. He didn't know who I was and what I was trying to do, And I think he didn't respect me at that time, but after that fight, he respected me and he showed it in the media, saying that was his top 3 or top 5 greatest fights that he'd ever seen live. And that showed me a lot, that a guy in Dana White, who's the boss man, and we've kind of had a bad drift in the past, but he was able to put that aside and really say the true thoughts of behind the fight, not just give a biased opinion.
What's it been? So what's it been like for you to try to get this rematch booked? What's it been like?
Man, it's been such a journey, and just it's been tough, bro. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen. They did not want it to happen. His manager, they were refusing. They were trying to find every way in the book out of fighting this rematch. They didn't want this fight, man. And the only reason they have to take is the UFC gave them no choice. They said, hey, you fight this fight or we just strip you. It's one or the other. You got to come out and prove you're the best in the world. There needs to be no controversy surrounding this fight. So it's been tough. I had to go out, and finish a former world champion in Woodley. He got 2 easy paychecks against lightweights that should have never been there. His last fight, he's beating a guy in Street Judas Masvidal. God, I was beating that guy decades ago. Like, that's not an achievement. You're proud for beating that guy? That guy's a lightweight. He shouldn't even be up here in the top of the mountain.
Can you give a little bit of context? Because I think some people they would look at your record and be like, well, he fought Kamaru, and then the guy only fought once in 2 years, and now he's getting a title. Like, what was going on behind the scenes in terms of, like, why weren't you more active, I suppose? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, the facts is no one wanted to fight me. I mean, go to Hunter Campbell, go to Dana White, ask them the truth. No one would fight me. Street Judas Masvidal, they wanted to make this big hype fight. Oh, best friends turn rival. We hate each other's guts now. He was running his mouth in the media saying, oh, this and that. I'll drop Colby on sight. That guy's fragile, blah, blah. There's no one more fragile than Street Judas Masvidal. That guy got locked. Is he even awake yet? Or is he still sleeping from the last time he fought Usman? So I was trying to put on the big and best fights for the UFC. No one wanted to take the bait. So now we are here, and we get the best fight in the welterweight, division. And, it's going to be a real treat for the fans.
Just one more thing about the first fight. I'm sorry I keep going back to it, but it has to be brought up, because I feel like, that narrative that you're talking about of, I don't know if, media pushed this, but certainly fans would be like, well, he talked and he got his jaw broken, and then there was like, was his jaw broken? Like, for the record, what happened with your jaw? Like when did you get it checked out? And then how did this internet thing come up that it was broken?
Yeah. So the reason the internet thing came up is because it was one of the worst Photoshops, but let me say, in the history of the sport. Someone went and took a image off Google. They put my name on it, Colby Covington. And first off, if you ever see a X-ray film, it never will read your name straight across. It will look backwards. And they photoshopped the image. The front tooth had a cap on it. Do I have cats on my front teeth? I don't think so. So it was just a bad Photoshop. And that's just the trolls, the people that hate me the most, because they hate my success. They hate that I'm in this position. They hate that I'm doing better than them in life. So they want to try and discredit me, and they want to downplay my accomplishments. And the media ran with it. Oh, he broken jaw. It wasn't competitive. Oh, this fake X-ray that they came. That's not even a real X-ray. So nothing was broken. The only thing that was broken was Marty's pride that night, because he doesn't want to run this back in round 2, and he got forced to. And now November 6th, I'm going to take everything he's worked for his whole entire life, and he's going to have nothing left to show for it.
When you said earlier that it's not about beating him, it's about beating yourself, what did you mean by that? Like, how can you lose to yourself, I guess? Like, what do you got to beat?
Yeah, just, being mistakeless, being perfect in there, not putting my hands down, and not being overconfident, being smart, being strategic, having a better strategy. I didn't have a good strategy. I had a different camp behind me then. I had to leave that camp because they weren't getting the best out of me. Now I'm getting the best out of myself. And my last fight, I didn't show what I'm truly capable of. November 6th, you will see my full potential, Brett. And I can't wait to see what the narrative will be. What will they say after that? Will they say, will they start making excuses for Usman? Or will they stake my claim and say that I am the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world?
Do you see much difference in Kamaru since he started working with Whitman? That's been another big talking point. Like, he's working with Whitman. His boxing has looked great. He's finishing guys. Like, have you seen adjustments in him since he's changed camps?
No, I haven't seen anything. I see the same fighter. He comes out with a heavy jab, has a big right hand. That's kind of been the story of his career, before. And that's what he always went to in the past. So, Yeah, he's knocking out lightweights. He's knocking out guys that shouldn't be in there with him. These are easy paychecks, and there's a reason he fought those guys, because he knew he was going to win. You know, a former training partner of his, Dilbert, the guy should have never been in there. Street Judas Masvidal, the only reason he's in that position is because he's got all the hype on him. No one cares to see that guy fight. He's not a top-tier fighter. Street Judas Masvidal is the most fragile guy on the UFC roster, and he deserves no place fighting in a championship fight, and we found that out.
Why do you think you realized at age 6 or 7 that you wanted to be a world champion? What did that even mean? Like an MMA world champion, a boxing world champion? Like why do you think, what was the goal, and why do you think it happened so young for you?
I never knew, you know. I always questioned, like, why did I tell my coaches? Why did I tell my mom and dad that I wanted to be a world champion? Like, I just feel like God put me on this earth to do this, and this is what I'm here to do, is to create my destiny and achieve everything I want to achieve in life. And the fact that I was saying this at such a young age, like that it was already on my conscience that I wanted to be the best in the world at that young age, that tells me everything I need to know, that, you know, I'm right where I need to be and I'm doing what I should be doing. And this is destiny. And November 6th, we're going to find out our destiny.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.